So over the weekend, I played a closed beta build of a game called Veiled Experts. Now, Veiled Experts can only be described as Rogue Company with Counter-Strike rules. Yes, the beta build did feature the Team Deathmatch game mode, but the core main game mode was Bomb Defusal. And much like Counter-Strike, it does have a buy menu, and you would there buy your upgrades as well as your team upgrades that allow you to upgrade even further. The concept of this game was quite intriguing. I am a fan of Counter-Strike. I do respect Counter-Strike, and I have played Rogue Company in the past, so I was intrigued to try this game out. And overall, the game played pretty damn well. After firing up the game and going through the game's mandatory tutorial, you'll then also be prompted to choose one of the many characters available to you, and each character, much like Rogue Company or any other hero shooter, has their own little story as well as strengths, weaknesses, and abilities. Unlike Counter-Strike, however, you do have the ability to customize your weapons and attachments, and you predetermine this before you go into a match, so that when you go into a match and you buy that weapon, it will have the attachments that you had chosen for it in the game's customization menu. But aside from this, the game looked great. It played great. Everything about it was pretty well polished. It's supposed to be free to play, and it's supposed to be arriving later this year. And overall, I enjoyed my time with it. However, I don't think this game is the next big thing. Unlike the finals, when I played that, I walked away thinking this could be the next big thing, and I can't wait to play more. Upon finishing the beta for this game, I felt like this is a game that's probably going to have its audience, but it won't be a major audience, and I think it will fall to the wayside. To put things into perspective, none of the major shooter games on the market are from the third-person perspective, and that is done for the main reason that it's a third-person perspective. Now, I know people will point to the success of Fortnite, but Fortnite is a battle royale and not an arena shooter. When you're talking about, arena shooters or games like Counter-Strike and Rogue Company, third-person perspective doesn't work very well, particularly with Bomb Defusal. And the reason why they don't work is because from a competitive standpoint, it is undoubtedly clear that this game is heavily defensive-sided. When you're talking about a game that is competitive, that features a 3v3 or 5v5 bomb defusal in third-person perspective, the defending team, without question, has a clear-cut advantage because they can abuse the third-person camera. You see, when you're defending, you can just get to the objective, sit behind a wall, use the third-person camera perspective to peek angles, line up your crosshair for incoming enemies, and then just peek and shoot when they're out in the open. As the attacking team, you need to plant the bomb. You need to get on site, you need to plant it, and therefore you need to be aggressive. And this game, being in third person, heavily punishes people for being aggressive. I also used to come from SOCOM back in the PS2 days, and this was exactly how you played SOCOM. If you wanted to do well, was you abused the third-person camera. And this is why third-person shooters are never mainstream or never the cream of the crop when compared to other shooters like Call of Duty, like Counter-Strike, like Valorant, etc. Because at least when you're playing first-person perspective, you have to actually peek the angle to see. Whereas third person, you could hide behind cover and you abuse the camera. This was also part of a big outcry when PUBG came out in 2017 that people wanted a first person perspective. Third person is great for co-op games. Third person is great for team deathmatch. It's great for looking at your character model, especially when you customize them. But it doesn't make great for tactical shooters, especially because you have the hero shooter element. And what I mean by that is the character that I used predominantly was a character that had a recon dart, similar to that of Sova from Valorant, similar to that of Hanzo from Overwatch. He was essentially a must play because he gets a free recon dart as opposed to having to buy it from the buy menu like everybody else. So you would just spam multiple arrows to reveal where enemies were in order to attack. Because if you don't, you're going to run in there blind, aggressive. They're going to peek you, have a crosshair lined up, and you're dead. Because this is the clear-cut advantage of third-person perspective, and why I think the game will have an audience. It will be a small audience, but it will have one. People who like third-person shooters will like this. People who like Rogue Company will like this. But the general public is not going to like this. And I don't think this game has what it takes to take off from a competitive standpoint. I don't think you'll ever see this game topping viewership channels on Twitch or whatnot, unless someone like Shroud or Dr. Disrespect was to be playing it, because, well, it's third person. And any high-level shooter is going to abuse the camera, as I did, and it's obvious who it favors. So in my opinion, I think the game is decent. I think the game will be fun as pick up and play, to mix it up in the rotation, but I don't think it's a game that many people are going to take seriously, and I don't think it's the next big thing. Unfortunately, what's here is good and it's fun, but it doesn't fit the tactical shooter playstyle very well, especially if you're mirroring Counter-Strike, and the fact that Counter-Strike has Counter-Strike 2 coming out this year. I think this game will disappear and only have a small niche audience of people playing it. But that's just my thoughts and my opinions on this game. You're free to try it out when it comes out. It is free to play. You'll see for yourself if you don't believe me. This is Veteran Gamer, and I hope to see you guys next time.